I'm Mitch Gallagher. Welcome to Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. This time out, the story of a custom guitar build. Let's get started. You may have seen the guitar I'm holding here in some of Sweetwater's Instagram and Facebook posts, as well as in some of the demo videos I've done for Sweetwater. Every time it shows up, we get a lot of questions. So I thought I'd tell you the story of how this guitar came to end up in the form that it's in now, because it started out as a very different instrument. When I originally purchased this guitar, my thought was to get an inexpensive Telecaster that I could just have around my office, play it during breaks, and also take on trips, so I could leave it in a hotel room, put it on an airplane, and really not worry about it too much. So this was a standard Telecaster, but the interesting thing about it was they did a limited run in this matte blue finish, which I really love. Originally, the guitar had a maple neck rosewood fingerboard, and it also had a standard electronic setup that you'd find in a Telecaster. So we had the single coil neck pickup in the metal can, and we had the bridge pickup installed into a standard Telecaster bridge plate. So it really was an off-the-shelf stock Telecaster. It was a great guitar, but I happened to have a really nice Telecaster neck hanging on the wall in my guitar workshop at home. So I unbolted the old neck and bolted on this new neck, which came off of a reissue of a '63 custom Telecaster. It's a lacquer finished maple neck with a rosewood fingerboard, and a great player owned it before me. I traded him an old pedal board for it, actually. So it was well worn. The finish is nicely broken in. The frets were really worn though, and so was the nut. So the first thing we did is take it to the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop. They refretted it and installed a new nut. These are Dunlop 6100s, and we've got a bone nut, and at the same time, I had them upgrade the tuners as well. Now this turned this into a pretty amazing guitar. The combination of this particular neck and this particular body really rings. It's very loud acoustically, has great articulation, and you can just strum it and play it unplugged in, and it feels great and sounds great. So I knew I had a great platform with this guitar, and my challenge then was to translate that great acoustic tone and all that sustain into an electric tone through an amplifier. So I started messing around with pickups. Initially, I changed to some different Telecaster style pickups, single coil neck, single coil bridge, and it wasn't giving me quite the fat tone that I wanted. In fact, I already owned a Telecaster, so I really didn't need another Telecaster, and I decided to take this guitar in a different direction. So at that point, I started to look at humbuckers. I started looking at both full-sized and single coil sized neck humbuckers, and also I started putting in single coil sized Telecaster bridge pickups. So I had a humbucking pickup in the standard Telecaster bridge at one point. But again, I was still looking for that bit extra out of it. I wanted a nice, bright, articulate, fat-sounding neck pickup that could give me PAF-style tones, but with a little boost on the high end, also sound sort of single coily. So where I ended up is a Seymour Duncan Lil 59. Now this is a single coil sized humbucker, fairly low output, but a nice bright top end. So I can cover everything from brighter single coil style sounds, and by rolling back the tone control, I can also get fat, smoky jazz type tones. Next, I turned my attention to the bridge pickup. Now, I decided I didn't want a single coil sized bridge pickup. I wanted to go with a full-sized humbucker for a fatter tone. So I installed a Telecaster bridge that had a humbucker size cutout and started experimenting with pickups. Where I've landed is a Seymour Duncan Saturday Night Special with Fender spacing, so it's a bit wider than a standard Gibson-sized humbucker. This allows the pole pieces to line up, and you get great response out of it. Now, what I like about the Saturday Night Special is it's a little fatter, a little bit more output than a regular PAF. It's still got that nice snappy articulation on top. I may change this pickup at some point. I'm looking for just a little bit fatter mid-range and a little more gain out of it, but we'll see. I'm really enjoying the Saturday Night Special right now. Because we'd made the change from single coils to humbuckers, I also wanted to change the control harness. And when you have single coils, typically you'll use a 250K potentiometer for the volume and tone. This rolls back the top end just a little bit and keeps it from being too shrill. But when you use that value of a potentiometer with a humbucker, the sound can get a little bit too dark and can get a little woolly. To open that up, you go with a 500K potentiometer. So the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop put together a custom electronics harness for me based on Emerson components. We've got a new switch, a 500K volume pot, a 500K tone pot, as well as a new capacitor. So everything's been upgraded as far as the electronics go in this guitar. I played the guitar with that configuration for quite a while, with this neck pickup, this bridge pickup, the control harness, the new neck, and so on. It sounded great and I really enjoyed playing it, but I found myself missing a vibrato bridge. I was playing jazz blues with this, some fusion, some rock music, and I found myself wanting a Strat-style vibrato arm so I could have that extra expressiveness. Now, changing out a standard Telecaster bridge to a Strat vibrato arm is major surgery for a guitar like this. The Telecaster bridge bolts right onto the top and there's no routing to the instrument. When you install a tremolo like this, you have to route a slot here in the top that goes all the way through the body. Then you also have to route out a big cavity in the back of the guitar for the springs. Now, taking all that wood out of a guitar like this can change the tone. You can lose sustain, you might lose top end. It can really change the instrument, and so of course I was a little afraid of that. But in my opinion, most of the tone of a guitar comes from the neck. If a neck really resonates, the body's going to contribute as well, but I think that's really the primary tone generator in a guitar like this. So I decided to make the leap. I sent the guitar back to the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop. They broke out their routers and got to work. Now, it actually was even more extensive surgery than I thought, because what they had to do is actually inlay a block of wood here in the front to support the 6 screws that go in the front of the bridge. So they inlaid that block, routed out the slot through the body, and then routed out the back where the claw and the springs installed. It was a big deal. They did a great job. They managed to preserve the finish. There's no chipping. There's no cracking. It really came out looking like it was a stock instrument with the Strat-style vibrato installed. But the big question is, did installing that bridge change the tone? In my opinion, it really didn't, or if it did, it's so minor that it really doesn't matter, and certainly when you weigh it against the benefits of having that vibrato bridge in a guitar like this, it was well worth it. So I've still got all the sustain, the neck still rings, it's still very loud acoustically, still very articulate, and it's still very dynamic. I'm extremely happy with the mods that were done to this guitar, and that bridge just enhanced everything that we had going on. The guitar also stays in tune very well. It's got a bone nut, there's no clamping or anything going on with this vibrato bridge, yet it still stays in tune even when I'm fairly aggressive with it. There are a couple of key things to keep in mind if you're thinking about a custom build on a guitar you own. First of all, you want to start with a great platform. I had a great platform with my standard Telecaster and this neck that I installed onto it, and then I could build from there. So my bass tone was really nice, and it was only enhanced by the mods that I did. The second thing is you want to have a really qualified luthier working on your instrument if you want great results. Now, I can do this kind of work myself, but I can promise you it wouldn't have come out as well as what the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop guys did. They're highly trained luthiers with a lot of experience, and whether you're installing a new pickup, soldering in a new volume pot, or doing major surgery like installing this vibrato bridge, they can do the job for you. The other question with a custom build like this is the cost. Now, starting out, I had an inexpensive guitar, and certainly I spent some money on the modifications along the way. But having a custom-built instrument made from the ground up would have been way more expensive than modifying my standard Telecaster. In my opinion, the investment was well worth it, especially because of the quality work that I received back from the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop. It really gave me an instrument that's customized for exactly what I want, and I love playing it. If you're interested in having your personal guitar modified, whether it's installing a new pickup, putting in a new volume pot, having new frets installed, or major surgery like a new vibrato bridge, the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop luthiers can handle the job for you. Give the Sweetwater Guitar Workshop a call or visit them online to find out more details. I hope you've enjoyed this look at my custom Telecaster. I'm really happy with this guitar and I'm having a lot of fun playing it. Thanks for joining me for Sweetwater's Guitars and Gear. Be sure to tune in next time. We'll have more guitars, more amps, more effects, and we'll be making lots of music. I'm Mitch Gallagher.